What's up, guys, and welcome to White Friends English. Today we're going to do a video on when to use the definite article the before an English noun, and 8 rules you can apply today to correct that common grammar mistake.
So the past 2 videos have been about combining pronunciation and spoken grammar together in order to nail down which indefinite article, a or an, you should use before certain words. However, whether to use a definite or indefinite article, meaning the or a or an, is solely dependent upon whether the item you're talking about is specific to a certain context. Since knowing whether to use a, an, or the is dependent upon the context and specific things within the context, whatever you're talking about, we're going to talk about 8 rules to help you guys narrow that down, because the is a very tricky word to get right in English.
Yeah, and it carries a lot of meaning.
It's really important to note, guys, that these 8 rules are not unbreakable. They are not without their exceptions. However, knowing these 8 rules is going to help guide you into using the right one.
And make sure that you grab a copy of the worksheet that we put together. You can find that in the link below. It'll take you to a page. You put your email in and it will send you a PDF of the worksheet so you can follow along as we go.
So in order to know whether or not a noun is specific so that you know whether to use a definite or indefinite article with it, well, you've got to pay attention to the context. You've got to pay attention to the number of the noun, whether that noun is count or non-count. You've got to pay attention to a few things.
So if one of these 8 things are true, you will likely use the.
So let's get started with those. Well, rule number 1 is whether the noun that you're using is going to be non-count or count. Now, count or non-count really applies to whether or not you can make it plural, make it many by adding an s or es. If you cannot do that, like dog, one dog, or dogs, many dogs, if you cannot do that, then you're dealing with a non-count noun or an uncountable noun.
Right. So like water is a good example. You don't say waters, not really. You should say water. And so if you're going to say lots of water, you would say the water.
Right. And we don't use an article every single time we use a noun. We'll have to talk about that in another lesson. But generally speaking, if you're referring to a specific amount of water, or you're referring to a specific type of water or a glass of water, you might say, where's the water?
Or do you like the milk?
So non-count nouns, they can be many things. There's a lot to making a non-count noun, but liquids, things made up of many, many tiny parts like rice, or things like money, abstract ideas like love. You don't say like, I have so many loves for you. You don't say that. If you say many loves, you're referring to people that you refer to as love. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Another example is the cheese on your sandwich is made locally.
He paid Don with the money he won in the lottery.
The money. So rule number 2 is if you're referring to something at hand in the context around you. Yeah. So this is kind of like how you would kind of think of the word that, but instead of saying that, you're going to say the screwdriver, the chair, the thing. It's right there. You're almost pointing at it.
That you would use in case there's multiple in the room. So if there's multiple screwdrivers on this desk, I might say, hey, can you hand me that screwdriver, not the others? But if I'm saying, can you hand me the screwdriver, it typically implies there's only one. Yeah. So there's only one in the immediate context. Right. So in this case, we would use the.
So for example, I really like the shade of yellow in this room.
The 10th math problem is incorrect. So another case where we would use the and before the noun that we're talking about is if we're referring to a generic noun first, and then we just isolate the conversation to that one noun to continue the conversation. So if you've referred to, hey, there's a man over there across the street, as you continue talking about the man with your friend, you're going to start referring to him as the man.
You actually did it just then. So general to specific.
Right. So you're drawing attention to a generic person out of the crowd. Now you're going to talk about the person that you just pointed out earlier. So this is something that trips up a lot of ESL students in their writing, especially. They start by saying a, and then they continue saying a. Yeah. And it's not clear when you keep doing that because maybe you're referring to a different man every time you write about a man. Right. So you need to be sure that you draw attention to something with the generic a, and once you both understand what's being discussed, now you can use the or no article whatsoever. So for example, there was once a man named George in my hometown. He was quite the character. There's so much everybody knew about him. Everybody knew who George was. It didn't take long before he became known as the man with a grin. A man named George. And now that I've talked a little bit about him, everybody in the same town who knew about George called him the man with a grin because he was always smiling.
Yeah. Or check out this other example. What do you think of animal shelters?
Well, I think they're actually really cool. I mean, we adopted a dog from the shelter last week, and I mean, he was really fun and crazy. So yeah. I really think animal shelters are a great service.
Especially the animal shelter in our city.
Yeah, the animal shelter here is really nice. So
another one is a place that is made up of several smaller places. So for example, a really good one is to say the States. And when we say the States, we're meaning the United States of America, but we shorten it to the States because it's a collection of smaller areas put together.
Yeah, we might also say the counties of California. So in California, all of the districts and counties inside it, we might refer to as the counties
or
of
the
California.
The schools of Florida. So for example, have you ever been to the Bahamas?
No, not at all. Did you enjoy our trip to the States every time we came back?
Yes, every time.
Back in the day when we lived abroad, we always really enjoyed our trips back to the States. So if you are referring and trying to draw attention to a specific person, place, or thing that is just right at hand almost, but you're trying to point to or discern one apart from the others, then you're going to use the as well. So instead of saying, hey, there's a man over there, maybe you might say, hey, look at the man in the green coat.
Yeah.
Okay, so the man in the green coat, he's going to be the only man in the green coat over there.
Right.
Right, so that's something that I'm drawing attention to by saying the man. This specific person is who I'm trying to draw your attention to.
Right, and this is different from the general to specific one that we were talking about before because this one goes right into it.
Yes.
There's no guessing, there's no introduction, it's just boom, you're supposed to know who is this man that you're talking about or what is the thing that you're talking about.
You might do the same thing trying to pull up a memory from the past. Do you remember the time that we grilled out at the lake, for example? So we'll say the time that we grilled out at the lake. So the lake, you guys might not know, but we're going to know because there was only one time that we grilled out at the lake together.
Another one is the doctor told him to take it easy. I'm not talking about any doctor. I'm talking about maybe his doctor or the heart doctor or whatever. I'm making it specific. The doctor said, take it easy.
Yes. We might do the same with the mall. So are we going to the mall this weekend? Probably not.
So the next rule is when you're referring to the title of a specific place that's normally a generic kind of common-ish noun. So AC would just be like AC. It's a place of water, just some AC, not specific. But if you're saying the Dead Sea, you need to use the.
Right. It's the same with oceans. The Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. This is going to be very specific. If you're referring to one that is made up of a lot, similar to the idea of non-count nouns here. So the mountains, okay, you're going to refer to one mountain as Mount Fuji or Mount Everest, but you're going to refer to a mountain range made up of many mountains as the Rocky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains. So there is an exception to this one. When a place is referred to as the place as a place, rather than saying whether you're going to say mountains or not, or mount or not, you're just going to refer to it by its title because it is a title. If I say that I'm going to the beach, it doesn't matter what beach. In this case, it sounds kind of like an indefinite article. I'm going to a beach or I'm going to the beach. We say the beach because it's just whatever beach is closest, really. So we are in a landlocked state. We are somewhere that has no beaches anywhere close. So when I say, yeah, we're going to the beach, I don't tell people we're going to a beach. I tell them we're going to the beach, and everyone just assumes, oh, you're going south because that's the closest beach that you could possibly go to.
Right, which is really, really important for you guys to be able to know is because even such a small word transfers so much information by saying, like, for example, our proximity to the ocean or where is the nearest beach to us. That's a lot of information just with that one word, the beach.
But if you're going somewhere that's going to be kind of surprising, then you're going to say, I'm going to Myrtle Beach. Notice that there's no the there. It's because I'm going somewhere that's kind of unexpected. That's a lot further to go for us where we are, but we're going to name it specifically because it isn't just the beach to us. It's not the way that's closest to us. It's some other, so we're going to use its title instead. This is another way that we refer to things like Clearwater Beach, Florida, but we also refer to states without the. So we go to South Dakota, not the South Dakota.
Very similar to that, the seventh rule is the idea of very specific or very special titles. So for example, we would say the President of the United States or the President of the United States. We wouldn't say a president or President of the United States. We would be very, very specific to give kind of almost honor to say this is one of a kind.
Yeah, but if we're talking to the president, then we're going to say Mr. President instead. Just so that we can avoid using the. It would be very awkward to refer to Josh as the master.
The teacher.
The teacher. It would be weird for me to say, hey, the teacher. I would just say, hey, teacher, because I'm referring to him as a title, not just saying, yeah, he is the teacher of the class. So other places that might have this is like the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum or the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History or something like this. We will use the because it is a title and it's the proper way to refer to it.
Be careful though not to refer to specific mountains or places or scenic spots because again, that kind of follows the same rule that we said with point 6, which is if it's specific like Myrtle Beach, we wouldn't use that definite article the because that is the name of the place. The Myrtle Beach sounds really weird to us.
Right,
Myrtle
but if it's a reference to many within that group, like the Rocky Mountains, now we will use the. So here's a little bit of a difference for you. Sonic is a popular drink stop in the American South. No article, because I'm referring to it as a title. However, if I'm referring to a specific one in a certain part of the town or city that I'm in, I'm going to say the Sonic downtown is particularly slow today.
So because you're pointing out that one location, not the company itself, not the entity, you're at that location, you can use definite.
That specific drink stop.
Hey, do you need anything from the store? I'm going to Walmart.
No, I'm good.
Okay. See you later.
So the last one, this one's pretty easy. I think that many of you will know it. But this is when you're referring to a group of people within like family members or something like this, but you're referring to the whole. So the Williamses.
Yeah, the Williamses are teachers.
The librarians in this county are paid more than DMV workers. So notice here that I'm saying the librarians, I'm referring to them as a whole group. But if I'm going to refer to them as their title, like if they had an association, for example, I would say the Librarian Society, or I would just say Librarian Society members are paid more. So it depends on whether you're quantifying them or not.
So there you go, guys. That was a lot, and I know that it was, but the point of these videos is not so that you can just be perfect after watching a 10-minute video or a 15-minute video, but to give you the tools so that you can start practicing now, so you can develop those healthy habits, so that you can have some rhythms that you can practice so that you can be able to do this naturally, even in new situations or new contexts.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you grab that worksheet below if you haven't already. Watch this video and our A and N videos in the pronunciation check playlist. So if you grabbed the worksheet packet, or if you're going to, I'm going to ask for your email, and I'm asking for your email so that I can send you more worksheets, more free content and resources every week. So to go along, to coincide with our YouTube videos, so you don't have to keep putting in your email every time you want to get a worksheet.
Right.
But rather, we would love for you to be able to just grab those and go and be able to practice with us every single week.
Right. And these worksheets and stuff, the reason why we do PDF and the reason why we do it with your email so that you can take it anywhere you're going. Yep. So that's it, guys, for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.